Alright boys, we're back. We got some more trades to talk about. The Detroit Red Wings going out there making 2 splashes today. So I want to talk about the trades that the Red Wings made. And you know, if the playoffs were to start today, the Red Wings would be going up against the Tampa Bay Lightning. They got 81 points right now. They have a good cushion between them and the Florida Panthers. So it looks like they're going to make the playoffs this year unless something horrible happens to them. And that's going to be their 24th consecutive playoff appearance. So they're bolstering their chances for a 4th cup in 24 straight years in the playoffs, all right? So the Detroit Red Wings, man, you got to watch out for them. So I want to talk about these 2 trades. The first trade, Detroit trades a 3rd-round pick in 2016 to the New Jersey Devils in return for Marek Zidlicky. Zidlicky, I don't know how to pronounce his name, all right? So straight up draft pick for a player deal. What Detroit gets is a 38-year-old rental defenseman to fill up their top 6. Detroit right now pretty much uses Kronwall, DeKaiser, Erickson, Quincy, and Smith, with one spot being open for Ouellette or Kindle, so I'd imagine that's where Zidlicky's going to go. Might get some power play time, good puck-moving defenseman. And again, I've said this before in the videos I've made today, and when a deep playoff run comes around, if a team's looking for a deep playoff run, you need to expect injuries, especially with the Detroit Red Wings having a little bit of an older core. You know, the injuries may start to show up there if they get to the 2nd or 3rd round, so to get some good depth players with NHL experience, that's the key. I mean, I know they got plenty of guys down there in the AHL, but not necessarily playoff experience, but just NHL experience, you know what I mean? And that's what Zidlicky has. The guy is 38 years old. He's played plenty of games in the NHL. And, yeah, man, if you're going to expect injuries, why not add a veteran rental D-man with playoff experience? It makes sense. It's a trade that makes sense for the Detroit Red Wings, and them giving up a 3rd-round pick is not too much. We all know Detroit does a great job of drafting. They still have their first. They have a plethora of prospects down in the AHL, right? Still have Anthony Mantha down there, so to give up 1/3 is not a big deal whatsoever. And New Jersey makes sense. It's a simple rebuild trade, unloading a 38-year-old for a 3rd rounder. That's all. That's all it is for the New Jersey Devils, right? So I think it's a great trade to get a 3rd-round pick for a 38-year-old defenseman. So if I have to choose one team who wins, you know, it's a good I can see why it's a good trade for Detroit, but I got to give it to the New Jersey Devils. To get a 3rd rounder out of a 38-year-old, that's a solid deal. So good job, Lou Lamoriello. The second trade for the Detroit Red Wings, Detroit trades Matthias Backman, or Bachman, Mattis Janmark, or Janmark, however you pronounce these damn names, a 2nd in 2015 to the Dallas Stars in return for Eric Cole and a 3rd-round pick in 2015. So let's break this trade apart. First, Detroit gets a middle 6 winger with size and speed to help out for the playoffs. Eric Cole, he seems to be around for how long now, right? He's 36 years old. He's an unrestricted free agent after the season. Same thing with Zidlicky, which I didn't actually mention. They're both unrestricted free agents, so he's probably a rental player. And, you know, like I said before, they have plenty of depth on their AHL squad that they can call up in the playoffs, but to have an NHL experience depth is much better than bringing up AHL players who have really not gotten used to the NHL yet. Now you're asking them to play NHL playoff games? No, that's not going to happen. Now, Eric Cole, he's had some playoff experience. It's kind of been, you know, a few with Carolina. He had a few games last year with Dallas, right? But nothing tremendous, but still more experience in the playoffs and more NHL experience than a lot of their call-ups in the AHL. So I think that's what it is. You're just bringing in a depth winger for the top 6 with size and speed, and he is, you know what I mean? He's proved himself in the NHL, so I think it's a good trade. Again, they're bolstering their chances for the playoffs, but just like Detroit always does, you know, they didn't really change too much. They didn't give away too much of their future here. I don't know too much about Matthias Backman and Mattis Janmark, right? So maybe I'm wrong about that. But their roster looks pretty similar, and they just add 2 veterans to help out their playoff chances. What Dallas gets with this, Dallas moves their 3rd-round pick in 2015 up to a 2nd-round pick with Detroit's pick. So that's why when Detroit traded away their 2nd-round pick to Dallas, they got a 3rd-round pick right back, you know what I mean? So Dallas just moved their 3rd up to the 2nd. Detroit moved their 2nd down to the 3rd. So it's not like they gave up 2 picks today, all right? They moved a 2nd down to a 3rd, and they gave away a 3rd to New Jersey. So it's not that bad for Detroit, man. They really didn't give up too much here. And with guys like Matthias Backman and Mattis Janmark, they were also sent to Dallas. I have no idea about these guys, but with Detroit's drafting history, maybe these guys will be fantastic, right? So who knows? Well, maybe Detroit knows something that we don't. That's why they're trading them away. I don't know, all right? So maybe you guys who know these guys can actually give reviews on them in this video, because I've tried to figure out about these guys. I couldn't even figure out what the hell, where these guys came from. I know Matthias Backman, he was drafted in the 5th round. He's 22 years old. Janmark, I couldn't find any freaking information on the guy at all, right? So, yeah, you guys go nuts in the comments about those two guys. Dallas Star fans, how do you feel about that? I think it's a simple rebuild trade, again, for Dallas, giving up a veteran player, Eric Cole, who's going to be an unrestricted free agent this year, all right, and getting 2 prospects back and upgrading a pick. That's what I think the trade is really about. You give up Eric Cole and you turn your 3rd into a 2nd. So, you know what? If I'm going to judge this trade, I'm going to say Dallas Stars win. I'm sure Eric Cole might do fine for the Detroit Red Wings, but I don't think it changes their roster completely. But Dallas, they get rid of a player that was probably not going to be here next year, and they upgrade a 3rd to a 2nd. So why not? Good job, right? So there's my opinion on the trade. I want to know what you guys have to say, and I'll see you in the next one.